Somewhere in the South Pacific, this night was different from all others. The natives were restless. An air of quiet mixed boldly with an unseen, ominous presence. Suddenly, the night was filled with a violent explosion.
Mark, what are you doing now?
How do you like it?
What's he up to this time?
Mark just took his first step around the bend.
You mean?
Afraid so. He's losing it.
Not playing with a full deck, eh?
Finished, are we? All through?
Would you like to have a go at an explanation, please?
This happens to be a model of a volcano.
Mark, couldn't you get an electric train like all the other kids?
I'll get you for that, Trini. I'll get you for that.
3, 2, 1. Contact is the secret, is the moment when everything happens. Contact is the answer, is the reason why everything happens. Contact. Let's make contact. 3, 2, 1. Contact.
You know, it isn't just plants and animals that grow and decay, my Liebchens. Human cultures do too, and so do landforms. When is the last time you heard from anyone in Idaho that wasn't a potato? Think about it. A potato.
This is what happens when a volcano erupts. The fire is actually molten rock called lava. These pictures are of Kilauea in Hawaii, one of the world's most active volcanoes. I visited the volcano and talked to geologist Rick Hazlitt. I wanted to know how they know when a volcano is going to blow up.
Each of these seismographs, or earthquake recording devices, is connected by radio signal to an instrument out on the volcano. For example, Mauna Loa. Okay, this instrument is located on the large volcano over there. And whenever there's an earthquake, it makes a little marking, just like this. Here's an earthquake now that's coming up, a very large earthquake that occurred earlier today, just about an hour ago. This earthquake lasted for only about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes or so.
For a while, they thought the volcano would erupt when I was there. And I helped Rick take a portable seismograph out to the crater. It was really weird out there.
How do you know then when there's going to be an eruption, and how soon before it happens do you know?
Months and months before an eruption occurs, this mountain will swell up like a balloon filling with air, so that the very ground surface that you're standing on can rise up as much as 6 feet preceding a big eruption. Now, sometimes only a few hours before the lava breaks out, strong earthquake activity will start. And what the scientists are looking for is a very special type of earthquake caused by magma moving underground.
What's magma?
It's liquid rock. It's rock that hasn't yet cooled and hardened to form the stone that we see on the surface here today. I've seen it erupt out of the ground before, and it looks just like tomato soup.
You were there?
Well, I was there.
What was it like? Was it red then?
Lava had already started to erupt in the forest area about a half a mile away, and we could see these fountains of red lava shooting up above the trees hundreds of feet.
They go that high?
They can go as high as 1,900 feet.
How high is that? Like?
Well, that's like putting the Washington Monument on top of the Empire State Building.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was
right.
all lava? How far does that spread out?
It's spread 3.5 miles away from the vent, destroying a forest, which
Wow.
is just beginning to recover after 20 years.
Is this all lava?
Yes, it's all lava.
How come it's like two different kinds.
Ah, that's a good observation. Well, there are two different types of lava in Hawaii. There's this kind of ropey type of lava, which the Hawaiians call pahoihoi. That means ropes in Hawaiian. And then this rough type that we're standing on, which they called a'a. A'a means anything that's painful to walk on. And imagine now walking on this lava in your bare feet. You'd say a'a too.
I can't believe how much this place looks like the moon.
Yes, it is. In fact, the astronauts trained here before they went to the moon.
Really?
That's right. They came to the volcano and walked around on the surface to get a feel for what it might be like to walk on the moon. They were surprised at how similar this surface is to what they found on the moon. Wow, look at this.
What is it?
That's an enormous earthquake fault in here.
You mean this was all together at once?
That's right. Look how deep it is.
I wouldn't want to have been here.
Look at the vegetation in this crack.
Those little plants?
Yeah, most of them are ferns now. You can see how it's possible for plants to recover even on these rocky, barren lava flows. Oh, well, this is a section of the old highway that used to exist here before the eruptions that started in 1969.
They covered it?
Oh, they covered 13 miles of the highway.
Wow.
And in some places, that old road lies under 300 feet of solid lava today. You can see out there now that the flows go all the way to the ocean. And in fact, about 200 acres of new land were added to the island during that activity.
By lava?
By lava entering the water. Uh-huh.
Wow.
That's how the whole island grew. Beginning about 5 million years ago, the island of Kauai was an active volcano above the ocean. This is the youngest of the main islands. It's only about 700,000 years old.
But what was here before then?
Just open ocean. Ocean about 18,000 feet deep.
So underneath us is a big, gigantic mountain underneath the
That's
water.
right, that's right.
It takes such a long time, though, for it to form.
A long time in human terms, but as far as the age of the Earth goes, it's a very short time indeed.
So what do you think, girls? Is this a cute model?
Does a bear growl in the woods? You've got to come over someday and play in my little sister's sandbox.
I've seen your little sister, and that's a litter box.
Come on, you two. You know, actually, Mark, it's a terrific model. Do you know how volcanoes start?
Sure. You just take a little plaster of Paris.
Lisa means a real one, not a toy. They start inside the Earth, right?
Yep. They tell me all about them in Hawaii.
You mean you didn't spend all your time surfing?
I like to know exactly where I am at all times, and Hawaii happens to be a volcano. All the islands there began as volcanoes.
But they're right in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, but under the bottom of the ocean, it's so hot that the rock is melted. It's a liquid. And if there's a weak spot in the bottom of the ocean, the liquid rock just spurts right up through it.
You mean it just goes bango right into the water?
Sure. It's called lava. And when it cools, it hardens into rock.
Hey, I get it. The more eruptions, the more the volcano grows, right?
That's it. And eventually, the volcano gets so big that the top of it will stick out of the water, and it's an island.
So it works just like a volcano on land. Kind of like my toy model right here. If you'll be so kind as to give me your complete attention, I shall demonstrate.
With that toy?
Whoa. Oh.
See there? My toy lava is making my toy island bigger.
Yeah, and it's also making it messier. You know, I'm not going to help you clean this up.
Well, when did you ever help clean up?
When you made the toy bomb.
But Mark's right. That's exactly how volcanoes enlarge the land surface. But what I want to know is, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Rock, rock, rock.
Rock fans, it's time for some serious rock talk.
Rock, rock, rock.
Dig this. The Earth is made of rocks that are always moving. In the beginning, they just wandered around. Then 200 million years ago, there was one big chunk of land covering one side of the globe. Luckily for us, it didn't stay that way. Rocking and rolling, ebbing and flowing, till we have the world we know today. But don't worry, the world is still rocking and rolling. Rock falls, volcanoes erupt, earthquakes and whole countries rocking and reeling up and down. Oceans close up, mountains grow. So, rock fans, just remember, one day, if things keep moving like they are, people in L.A. will be able to shake hands with their friends in San Francisco without leaving home. Sunbathers in southern France will have nothing but a puddle to paddle in. Africa will have its very own ocean. Yeah.
Trini, don't you think that thing has had enough to drink?
But if she doesn't water it, it'll die, Mark.
So?
Yeah, but then we won't have a plant.
You know, it isn't just plants and animals that grow and decay. Human cultures do too. And volcanoes aren't the only way that landforms change.
I still think you're watering that plant too much.
Mark, I'm not watering it. I'm teaching it to swim.
Bruce is a junior high school student who's been digging up ancient civilizations right here in the United States. He is taking us to an island in the Illinois River, which has been gradually washing away along the shoreline, revealing the remains of people who lived here thousands of years ago. I asked Bruce, what causes this erosion?
Well, there are a lot of things that cause erosion.
Like what?
One of the major reasons is because nowadays there's a lot of things that need to be transported along by boat, carrying grain or oil or just pleasure boats that come by. And they have these really big engines that generate really big waves. And they come and they wash up on the shoreline. And they take, as they wash up, on the way back, they take away soil. And the bigger the barge or something like that makes a bigger wave and takes away a lot of the soil.
Can you find stuff like, say, once the waves go out?
It helps us because it takes away soil. Instead of having to dig it with a shovel, it takes it away. And you just come upon it, you say, hey, look at this. The river's uncovered this for me. And it's really a lot better than having to dig and dig and dig and dig, but you let the river do it for you.
The objects they've been finding were left by people who lived here almost 2,000 years ago.
Late woodland Indians that inhabited this area.
What are these kids doing?
They're digging.
Who are they?
They're archaeologists.
But they're the same age as me, almost all of them. How can they be archaeologists?
Doesn't matter if you're a high school kid or a junior high kid.
Really?
Yeah, or an adult.
Can I ask them questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
What are you doing?
I'm digging a fire pit.
How do you know it's a fire pit?
Well, you can tell by the coloring there. This is much, much darker than it is around it. And you can see there's modeling of little dark bits, and that's charcoal, and that's burnt earth right there.
And that tells you that's a fire pit?
Yeah, that's a pretty good indicator.
How old do you think it is?
About 1,500 years old, but we're not really sure. Would you like to do some digging?
Can I really?
Sure.
Okay.
Here.
That?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you found anything here yet?
Yes, we have.
Oh, look. Oh. Wait a second.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know. I think I'm hitting something.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know. Wait. Let me do it.
Ooh, that's
it looks like
nice.
wow.
Got yourself a
Pretty.
projectile point.
A what?
A projectile point.
Oh, an arrowhead.
A projectile point. You're not sure. It's broken off there on the bottom, and you're not sure if it was used on an arrow or on a spear, so you just call it a projectile point.
He showed me an excavation where you can see the layers of mud deposited on this island over the last 2,000 years. Almost 5 feet down is where they've been finding the artifacts.
How come this is so much lighter than
Okay, below here, down to about here, there's another soil and texture change.
Yeah.
And this is when the Indians lived here. This is when they inhabited the island.
How do you know that?
Because this is where they found all the artifacts, from here down. They started finding them here, and they stopped finding them down here near the base of the square.
Okay, now, if in 40 years we built up this much earth, and in just 1 year we built up this much, and it just seems to be getting higher, does that mean that the earth is getting bigger?
It would appear to be so, but it's not. Because every time this much dirt is added here, it's taken away from somewhere else, upriver, or across the river. So, where it's not getting bigger, it's just moving from place to place.
Hey, Bruce, come here. Look at this.
What is it? What is it? Here,
What'd
right
you
here.
find? Can I see it?
Hey, what is it?
Top of the pot.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that marking, too. The cord marking
Can I
there.
see?
They
Yeah.
scratched it down the
Look at that,
side, put nodes in it here,
See?
and pinched it.
Is that the top here?
Uh-huh. That was the top of the pot.
Look at that. You can see where they poked holes in there. See those marks in there? And those are made by someone sticking a stick to there.
As they stuck this one like into the clay?
Yeah, and if you turn it over, see on the other side.
All the pieces that are found are first carefully washed to reveal any details they might contain. Then each piece is measured, then weighed, and finally a number is assigned to each piece. Okay, now, you showed me what kind of pottery they made and what kind of tools they used, but how can you tell what they looked like?
Well, we could tell by their bones what they looked like. We can't tell exactly, but we can tell. This bone is 2,000 years old, and it's a leg bone. This person was 6 feet tall.
6 feet tall 2,000 years ago?
Yeah.
But weren't people back then, like, smaller and shorter?
But not necessarily. Some people were just as tall as we are or taller.
Well, what else can you tell about them from their bones?
Well, from looking at their teeth, you can tell what they ate, or we can guess what they ate. Do you see how ground down they are? You think they ate some kind of meal that they ground, and so they would get this ground down stuff in their mouth, and they'd grind down their teeth.
You mean like corn and
Cornmeal,
nuts and stuff like that? I cannot believe that these people were living here 10,000 years ago. They were building all these beautiful houses and villages and sometimes even cities. These people were living here even before King Tut, and I never learned about them.
It's the same thing with me. I thought there was no one here. I didn't know anything happened before Columbus or before the people were here.
I thought they were just trees.
Out along the edges, they found cultural debris.
They built this house to look like one built here by an ancient civilization more than 6,000 years ago. You know, Bruce, if we're digging up stuff from people that lived 1,000 years ago, that means that 1,000 years from now, somebody's going to be digging us up. I wonder what they'd find.
Maybe glass.
Or plastic cups.
Or steel.
Aluminum sinks.
Styrofoam.
Plastic garbage bags, right?
Silverware.
We are going to take a trip. Not in space, but in time. Faster and faster until we've moved 1 billion years into the future. As we begin our journey, things look pretty much as we always see them. But watch what happens as we speed up a little. A minute goes by. Then an hour. Faster. Now we see the tide fall in the river. Nighttime. Day breaks. Now a month is passing. The moon changes phases. Spring approaches. We're now going about 4 days every second. Spring changes to summer and into fall. Now the first snow comes. It's New Year's Eve. Winter goes by in an instant. Even the seasons flicker by. Now the years. 10 years. The town becomes a city. 100 years. A flood washes away the riverfront. From gravel it carries down from the mountains. 1,000 years. Cities rise and fall. 10,000 years. 1,000 years a second. 10,000 years a second. The ocean draws back, and the mountains begin to frost again. An ice age spreads across the land. 100,000 years. The glaciers melt. 1 million years. The river carves another valley. 10 million years. The earth pushes up new mountains again. 100 million years. The same forces push the continents apart. 1 billion years.
What we leave behind us are clues to other people. Last winter, I left my boots behind me. In 1,000 years, when a scientist finds them, he'll know all about me. He'll know I got yelled at by my mama for losing my boots. You should see what else I left.
on, Mark. How'd you get that volcano to erupt?
Well,
What'd you pour in there? Tell us.
what's the magic word?
Please.
Nope. Watch the Bloodhound Gang.
Oh, Mark. Today we've been looking at some of the ways land surfaces grow and decay. And how the land sometimes buries evidence of human cultures that also grew and decayed. Mark, you're a rat.
Yeah, we tell you.
Sorry, I gotta go. Maybe I'll tell you tomorrow. But I doubt it.
Mark!
Mark.
Sorry, girls. Gotta go work for Crazy.
Mark, better! Cuando yo coja Mark mañana, ya tú verás.
Yeah, you said it.
Oregon salmon become underwater radio stations as scientists try to figure out why their numbers are dwindling. Watch Oregon Field Guide tonight at 8:30 here on OPB. It's where you belong.
Contact is a production of the Children's Television Workshop.